Are you living a life designed by default or by design? It's totally two different things. Every success, every failure, every aspiration, every limitation, it's all stem from one powerful, often unseen force is your identity. Every breakthrough, every breakdown, every dream, every dead end, again, it's all tracked back to one hidden architecture, your identity. And here's the truth. They never taught you that identity, it is not inherited. It is not fixed. It's not fate. It's built brick by brick if you choose to build it that way. Today, we are kicking open the vault and reverse engineering the blueprint of live 5 men who have chosen who they will become. And they became that what they required fully. From Andrew Tate, ruthless dominance, to Robert Kiyosaki, financial rewiring, to Tony Robbins, emotional reprogramming, to Patrick Bet-David, strategic execution, to Marquette Devon Burton, relentless value stacking. Each has built empires, influenced millions actually, and it started with building themselves. But here's the twist. While they were building, most people, they were wandering, living in a house they didn't design, operating off beliefs that they didn't choose, calling themselves names someone else gave them. That ends today. But how do their blueprints differ? And which one holds the key to unlock your next level? Are you ready to deconstruct and reconstruct and ultimately design the most powerful version of yourself? Let's get into it. Welcome back to Habit Podcast. This is episode 42. Here we try to help you guys to break the cycle of failure. Many of us feel stuck, repeating patterns, hitting invisible ceiling. We chase goals, but something holds us back. It's not always lack of effort or intelligence. Well, often it is mismatch between who we think we are and who we need to be to achieve our desire. This internal conflict, this outdated identity, this is the silent saboteur to our potential. We are living in a house built for our past version of ourselves. And it's time to tear down those walls. In our journey to deconstruct identity creation, we will examine these 5 unique figures dominating the internet. It's critical first to understand the bedrock principles that unite these five figures that we will talk about them in this episode. These men don't agree on everything, but they do agree on this. They agree that identity is malleable. You are not born a boss, a loser, a winner, a king, or a crown. You become it. Robert Kiyosaki dumped the employee mindset for investor lens. Andrew Tate chosen to become a top G. Tony Robbins teaches awaken your inner giant. Patrick Bet-David preaches about auditing your current self like a CEO. Marquette Devon, he built a new version of himself from the ghettos, from a zero to a hero, with 0 excuses. The first and perhaps the most liberating common theme is that the idea of identity as a flexible construction, not your principle, and don't mix that out. Sometimes your principle will shape your identity. However, none of these individuals believe that your identity is fixed, predetermined entity. Instead, they universally assert that it is a conscious choice, a dynamic construct that you can actively shape and reshape. Let's take it this way. Think about Andrew Tate. Didn't stumble into a top G. He built that identity like a war machine, piece by piece. Who is he by accident? It is who he decided to become. Ruthless discipline, relentless grind, he forged that persona through repetition, resistance, and zero compromise. Top G is a mask he chose until it became his face. Tony Robbins didn't say became the giant. He says make it the hell up. In Awaken the Giant Within, he is not teaching you to find power. He is reminding you it was always there, buried under fear, doubt, and conditioning. Your true self isn't missing. It is just being asleep. What he says, your job, make the conscious decision to embody it every damn day. Robert Kiyosaki, his whole game in Rich Dad Poor Dad, it's all about killing the employee mindset and replace it with identity as an investor. Not just chasing how you earn or by saving, but changing who you see yourself as in the financial arena. He's famous for his financial quadrant. From trading time to build assets, from employee identity to an investor identity, from working for money to make money work for you. Patrick Bet-David's personal identity of audit, it's just self-reflection, and it's self-construction. This man went from leaving the army to build a multi-million insurance company. Now, to launch a podcast that cracked the top 5 during the US election. Every move is strategic. Every shift, it's a calculated identity upgrade. He does not stumble forward. He designs who he needs to become for the mission ahead. Marquette Devon Burton. His concept of Marquettism, it isn't just a mindset. It is a blueprint through action. He came up from nothing. He grew up in single mom, raised in a ghetto surrounded by crime and chaos. But he didn't play victim. He played architect. From the trenches to Johns Hopkins University, from the street of survival to tech entrepreneur, he didn't just talk high value, he became one of them. Every choice he did, every move was a brick in the identity he built. That's why his brand, The Saint and the Sinner, it's a proper translation of his own life. They all emphasize your persona agency is defining who you are and who you can become. This leads us to the second fundamental pillar, the identity impact on outcomes. Every single one of those architects of self draws a direct, undeniable link between your identity and the tangible result of your experience in life. Whether we are talking about financial success, the quality of relationship, or the quality of your relationship, your physical health, or your mental fortitude, your identity dictates your action, and your action in turn dictates your result. Let's say it again. Your identity dictates your action, and your action in turn dictates your result. Let's take the Tate's again, Andrew Tate's dominance. It is not luck. It is byproduct of a persona he engineered. Power wasn't given to him. He became it. Tony Robbins breaks through. They came from mastering identity at the deepest level, mental, emotion, and physical. Robert Kiyosaki wealth. It is the natural result of shifting into investor identity and never look back. Patrick Bet-David business empire, built brick by brick on the back of a strategic leadership identity. Marquette Devon Marquettism, or the Satan Sinner. It's not branding. It is the outcome of ruthless self-discipline, living daily with the 3 sentences. Be yourself, be good to yourself, and be good to good people. They all agree if you want to change your result, you must first change who you believe you are. The third common ground is critical need to challenge limiting belief. All 5 recognize that invisible chains hold us back are often our own internal narratives. The stories we tell ourselves about who we are and what we are capable of, these limiting beliefs are often deeply intertwined in our old, outdated identity. Let's take again the example of our five gentlemen. Marquette lives by design, not default. Marquettism is not a philosophy. It is a lifestyle he forged, staying true to himself despite a tough upbringing, never folding, never faking. Andrew Tate. He does not dodge pressure. He walks literally into the fire. When life gets tight, he locks in, sharpens focus, and relies on brotherhood that moves with force. No excuses, no escapes, just execution. What about Tony Robbins? He takes belief system apart like an engineer. He maps out how they built and then hands you the tool to tear them down. What about Patrick Bet-David? He tells you, choose your enemies on purpose, like in his book, Choose Your Enemy Wisely. Then confront the internal limits with brutal audit questions. Why? Because clarity kills confusion, and that's where identity is rebuilt. What about Robert Kiyosaki? He is on a lifelong mission to smash the poor dad mindset. Those hand-me-down beliefs about money and self-worth. He shows you how to shed those chains and adopt the rich dad identity to build on freedom, control, and leverage. Our fourth and crucial pillar here is the action and consistency as a reinforcer. It's not enough to simply think different or wish for a new identity. No. These philosophies consistently highlights that identity is not just brought but lived. It's built through consistent action, discipline, and perseverance. Let's take Marquette Devan again, especially in his black box, his book, The Black Box. He drills down in a powerful quote: be yourself, be good to yourself, and be good to good people. That is not a motto. It is a method. He shows you the real identity is built from the inside out, layer by layer, through relentless execution and added value. No fancy, just bricked, laid daily. What about Andrew Tate? Andrew Tate in his university, The Real World, it is not just a course. It is a military-grade discipline system. His high standards, ruthlessness, accountability. You either became a man you said you would, or you break under the weight of your own excuses. What about Patrick Bet-David? Patrick Bet-David blueprints is a chessboard. Every move is intentional. He teaches you to identify your identity gaps, then fill them with a strategic, repeated action. Build what is missing, remove what is weak. What about Robert Kiyosaki? Robert Kiyosaki reminds us that identity shift starts within perspective shifts. You have to think that like the wealthy one long before you ever become. In his book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, he weaponized financial literacy to show you how new beliefs create a new result. What about Tony Robbins? He is the architect of emotion transformation. He will take your limiting beliefs, smash them to dust, and replace them with empowering patterns that rewire your nervous system. The truth is, your identity is a feedback loop. Your actions shapes your belief. Your beliefs harden into identity. And that identity either traps you or transforms you. Finally, here at this point, and perhaps one of the most empowering common thread is the unwavering call for self-mastery and personal responsibility. Every single one of these influential figures that we have spoken about champions the idea that you are ultimately responsible for your life, your choices, and your identity. They advocate for taking ownership rather than blaming external circumstances or waiting for someone else to grant you a permission. This fundamental self-reliance is the bedrock upon which a self-created identity is built. It is the understanding that you hold the power to design your identity, your destiny actually, and that journey begins with taking full responsibility of who you are and who you choose to become. Now, let's unpack the blueprint for those individuals. What's their philosophy behind it? Andrew Tate is the architect of dominance and self-reliance. His core philosophy is identity, it's not found, it's forged. Tate frames identity as a deliberate, forceful projection of power, built on control, discipline, and zero tolerance for weakness. His world centers on hypermasculinity, financial sovereignty, and unapologetic self-command. The key insights here in the real world, Andrew Tate Online University, is not just education. It is a combat zone for self-discipline. Students there receive lessons across businesses, fitness, mindset, and communication, but it is relentless accountability and obsession with the result that sets you apart. It's a tactical manual for building a top G identity, which is performance-driven, brutal self-honesty, and locked in to unshakable belief. His approach to identity creation, Tate's method is identity by demolishing and reconstruction. He pushes for full psychological repair habits, thoughts, posture, speech, all rewired through consistent, extreme discipline. Identity is not who you are. It is who you act into until it hardens into a truth. Now, everyone knows that he is polarizing, no doubt. But for many who feel soft, directionless, or cuddled, Tate's ruthless message of self-reliance and domination hits like a cold steel. A call to become dangerous in the world that rewards strength. Let's take Robert Kiyosaki, the architect of financial freedom. His core philosophy is your identity is directly tied to your financial lens. Kiyosaki believes that most critical transformation is not external. It is shifting from the identity of an employee chasing paycheck to that of an investor or entrepreneur building wealth. True freedom starts when you stop trading time for money. Let's say it again. True freedom starts when you stop trading time for money. His main insights, or his key insights in the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, lays out a stark contrast between two mindsets: the scarcity-driven poor dad and the asset-focused rich dad. It is not about income, it's about belief system. The book serves as a manual for adopting wealth-built identity, or at least the start of the thinking about it. What's his approach about identity creation? Kiyosaki method is a mental rewiring through education. You build a new financial identity by learning how money actually works, then apply it. It's about seeing the world through the lens of leverage, assets, and smart risks, instead of security and fear. Kiyosaki argues that until you change your financial identity, nothing else really changes. Money is amplifier, and who you are in relation to it determines what you build. Let's talk about Tony Robbins, the architect of holistic empowerment. His core philosophy is Robbins teaches that identity is not the maker key to behavior. It's the dynamic force that spans your emotion, thoughts, body, and fitness. Real transformation happens when you consciously redefine who you are, mastering your internal world to change your external results. His key insight in Awaken the Giant are deep dives into the mechanism of self-mastery. Robbins breaks down how beliefs, values, and mental rules shape your identity, and how rewiring them using NLPs, conditioning, and emotion leverage. His message: you are one decision away from your new identity. Let that sink in. how's his approach for identity creation? Robbins take holistic, inside-out approach. He teaches you to shift your identity by changing your mental patterns, emotion status, physical posture, and language into theory. It's about practicing your future self until it becomes who you are. Now, how he demonstrates that? His method is felt, not just learned. Robbins delivers identity change through immersive, high emotion experience that bypasses logic and lock transformation into your nervous system. It is therapy meet bootcamp, and it leaves permanent mark. What about Patrick Bet-David, the architect of entrepreneurship leadership? His core philosophy is identity is the cornerstone of leadership and business success. It is not something that you discover, it's something that you design. He champions that the idea that to hit big goals, you must first build a version of you who can achieve them. In his book, Your Next 5 Moves, Bet-David treats business like chess, and identity is your opening play. In his book, Choose Your Enemy Wisely or Your Next 5 Moves, Patrick treats business like a chess, and identity is your opening play. His personal identity audit, it's a tactical tool that forces you to confront who you are now and who you need to become, and what steps close the gaps. It's a strategy guide for becoming your aspirational self on purpose. Now, how he approaches the identity creation. How it is his approach for identity creation. His style is strategic, brutal, honest, and forward-facing. You don't drift into leadership, you build it, block by block, by aligning your mindset, habits, and execution. How he delivered that? He blends inspiration with business logic. He's not just about a hype. He gives you a playable strategy to make your identity a competitive advantage. In his world, identity is a business infrastructure. Either you build it or you break it. What about Marquette Devon Burton, the architect of Marquettism? His core philosophy, identity in Marquette world, is proven through pursuit, not proclaim. Marquettism is a personification of a high-value living across wealth, wellness, and relationship. It's about earning respect by becoming undeniable, brick by brick, through consistent discipline action. In his book, The Black Box, he laid down a manual for building identity through performance. It's tactical, it's raw, and grounded in real-life execution. The message is clear. You don't attract value, you become it. Identity is a construction through competence, choice, and constantly over time. Now, how he approached identity creation. Devon's framework is practical, hardcore, and outcome-driven. Identity is shaped through ruthless self-discipline, strategic moves, and producing real results. You are not what you say, you are what you deliver. How does he put it? Unlike the other, Marquette puts extreme result at the center. He's not talking about how you feel inside. He talks about what is the scoreboard says. Identity to him, it's a performance measure, test, and respect in the real world. Now, after we have gone through these 5 models, how you can put your identity blueprint. As we can see, as we saw already from reviewing the strategy and philosophy of all these 5 gentlemen or 5 examples that we have laid down for you guys here, there is no one-size-fits-all blueprint. Let's be real. There's no single path to becoming who you are meant to be. Identity is not copy-paste, it's a custom built. Each of these 5 giants forge their version of self on their own terms. And that's exactly the point. You don't have to choose one blueprint. You can steal bricks from all of them and build your own fortress. The power of conscious choice will play a major role here. Every one of them, from Tony, from Robbins to Tate, made deliberate choice to become who they are. None of it happened by accident. You can choose it. Not just how you dress or you talk, but how you think, move, react, live. Identity is yours to construct or ignore. Just now, if you don't define it, the world will do it for you. Now, if we choose to mix and match the methods to forge your own formula, let me highlight something for you guys to just think about it. You choose in the end of the day. It's the identity it's your identity that you wish to build, so it's your choice. Maybe you can steal Kawasaki money game mindset and fuse it with Robbins' mystery of emotions. Use Pat David's strategy to sketch your path and then fuel it with Devon's discipline and execution and Tate's raw mental toughness when things get heavy, and now you've got a lethal weapon. Now, I'm gonna share with you an action plan how to build your identity from ground up. It's your choice. It's not mandatory. It's your pick. It's your identity in the end of the day. However, you can start first by auditing yourself ruthlessly. Ask yourself, how's Bet David? Hard questions. Who am I right now? Who do I actually want to be? And what bullshit beliefs are holding me back? Second, study the greats. Pick one person who embodies the identity you want and study their patterns, not just their quotes. Model the mindsets and the moves. Number 3, commit to a daily reps. Identity isn't a goal. It is a lifestyle. Build it with habits. Reinforce it with results. Devons and Tate both preach this. Consistency is king. Number 4, flip your script. If your beliefs are dragging you down, it's time to rewrite them. It's time to rewrite the code. Robbins and Kawasaki both prove that when you change your mind, you change your money, your momentum, and your meaning, eventually your identity. This is your permission to be the architect. Break the mold, build your edge. And do not just find yourself, forge yourself. As a final recap before we end this episode, identity is not a destiny. It is a construction work. Let's burn it into your brain. You are not stuck being who you are. You are not stuck being who you have always been. Identity is not fate. It is not bloodline. It is not circumstances. It is design. And the pencil, the hammer, the blueprint, they are all in your hand. You are not a product of your past. Your past can affect you. You can gain experience from your past. However, you are a project of your decision. Redesigning yourself is not always an easy. It's work. It's discomfort. It's peeling off layers and layers of who the world told you who you are. But it's also the most liberating, purpose-packed, fulfilling thing you will ever do it for yourself. Because once you stop reacting to life and you start crafting who you are, that is when you became dangerous. That's when you became the real you. That's when your identity have been constructed. So here's the question. Are you gonna live inside someone else's blueprint or build your own empire? Pick one limiting belief that been holding you back so far. Now smash it, replace it with something that fuels you, and then move. One action, one habit, one shift toward the identity that fits your future. Your potential is not waiting. It's caged, it's pacing, pissed off, wondering when you will catch up. By the end of this video, drop the comments. Which philosophy hits harder for you? Which architect are you borrowing bricks from to build your identity? What action are you taking today to start that shift? And if this episode lit a fire, give it a like, share it, and of course, always subscribe, because we are just getting started. This is not a podcast. This is a blueprint. And the most important project ever you will work on it is yourself. As always, we close this episode. Keep pushing, keep grinding, and keep winning. And above all, keep breaking the cycle of failure. I will see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.